I wanted to have a chat about affordable housing. What is the way forward for Australia? We're short over 100,000 homes at the moment, so is tiny house living going to be the way forward for affordable housing? In this video, we're going to talk about how dozens of tiny homes have been proposed on the Sunshine Coast here in Queensland. We're going to discuss whether tiny houses might be the right opportunity for affordable housing going forward, or is it too much of a compromise for those who can't afford a standard property? Now, my name's Luke. I talk all things real estate, renovating, and financial freedom. If you're looking for a Brisbane buyer's agent, head over to purposeproperty.com.au, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into today's article. So, dozens of tiny homes are proposed for the Sunshine Coast as housing crisis worsens. Tiny houses are seen increasingly as a cost-effective alternative. A builder leading a social housing project in the Sunshine Coast hinterland has described the region's accommodation crisis as scary and says there needs to be more action on the ground. Greg Phipps has been building modular homes since 2007. Now Noosa Council has accepted and are considering his application to build 34 small modular houses on a 6-acre block at Cooroy as part of the private social housing endeavour. Mr. Phipps said he took action after seeing how bad the housing crisis had become in the region. There's just no action on the ground now, and this has been going on for so long, he said. It's really dangerous and scary. Mr. Phipps said the project will consist of 20 one-bedroom homes and 14 two-bedroom homes within walking distance of the Cooroy town centre. Now, I absolutely love this idea. This is something I would be interested in doing myself, in helping people find affordable housing, and my wife and I really love tiny house projects. There's a YouTube channel out here on YouTube which is called Living Big in a Tiny House, and my wife and I followed that channel for a number of years, and we like the idea that people can live in small spaces, keep things that are valuable to them personally, but not have a whole bunch of clutter and stuff, and also make it more affordable at the same time. When you're building a tiny house like this in modular and small sized homes, the cost per square foot does go up, but because you're using less space and you're only building a 1 or 2 bedroom tiny house, you actually save a lot of money overall in terms of the total build cost. You can build a tiny house for anywhere between, say, $40,000 to $120,000, depending on the size, depending on if it's transportable, and the additional extras that you might come with that home if you're getting solar panels or whether you're using composting or water. But all in all, I love this idea. I love that people could have affordable housing close to a town centre where they can walk in, and this would be something I would love to explore in the next 5-10 years over our investing journey, and maybe look at doing something like this even on this scale where we build some tiny homes and give them to people, or have people on super affordable rent so they have a place to stay and affordable accommodation over their head. He said it was not about making money but filling a need in the community. We were getting so many inquiries from the broad public right across the board for affordable accommodation and housing, Mr. Phipps said. It just presented itself as a potential opportunity to provide an emergency response to a crisis. It's about providing an emergency response. Mr. Phipps said the Eco Cottage project on Carpenter Road at Cooroy will be fully self-sustainable thanks to solar power and water tanks. Anyone living in the homes will have no bills, he said. All of the infrastructure will be solar powered. It's a microgrid. It's such a great idea to have a large acreage, so 6 or 7 acres, put these 20 to 30 homes on there, have them be self-sustained and create its own small community. I'm sure they're even going to explore something like having a veggie patch and having community gardens, which creates that sense of community. People know that they've got that roof, they're not going to have to pay for their water or electricity. I also think it's a good idea if they do pay some rent or do buy into the project, if they can. If they have a job and they're able to pay a little bit towards the property, then they're going to take some ownership of that property as well. So I think it'll be hard to find that balance, but if they could find a balance between paying some rent and also knowing that they're going to have those bills paid for them in the electricity and water, I think it would be a really good balance in making that accommodation affordable and making it feel like it was their own home. Mr. Phipps said he'd already had discussions with non-for-profit groups and registered housing providers to help those most in need. He said the project would cost more than $3 million and that the rental rates would need to be worked out with the registered housing providers that would put forward the prospective tenants. He said he hoped that the project could serve as a pilot for what could be achieved in other areas. We made it very clear to council that they wouldn't be on the private market. We would only deal with non-for-profit organisations. Both St. Vincent de Paul and Coaster Bay Housing were very supportive of what we proposed. Noosa Council is expected to release a draft plan in the coming days addressing the region's housing crisis. The housing strategy seeks to set a clear plan for housing in Noosa Shire through to 2041. The strategy seeks to ensure there is a right amount of housing of the right type and size in the right place and with the right tenure for our community. How good is that? That they're being intentional with the way they look to use this housing. I think it's a great idea that they're going to go through non-for-profit organizations and not look to speculate on this tiny house project or this tiny house community to get the most rent possible. But I also really like that they are vetting the tenants. They are also going to charge rent for these properties that's at a reasonable amount. So like I was saying earlier, I feel like that's a good medium. You don't want people to, the term here in Australia that's used a lot is dole bludgers, and that's not what we're really talking about. It's about people paying what they can afford within reason to put a roof over their head and have a place that feels like home or that is home. I just absolutely love this idea. So if you can donate to a non-for-profit organization that helps with affordable housing, please go and do that. We actually donate 10% of our business revenue to charities that deal with housing, drinking water, and community issues. So if you've got a little bit of money and you've got an investment or you're looking at buying a property, then maybe consider giving a little bit of that money away to a non-for-profit or an affordable housing group. Now to close this video out, let's just read on the final section. The Chief Executive Michael Henning welcomed the state government's plan to build 1,200 social and affordable houses over the next 7 years, but said action needed to be taken immediately. Amy McVie, who's the Queensland Council of Social Services Chief Executive, she said it's absolutely fantastic to see the state government partner with a wonderful community organisation in Brisbane Housing Company. She also warned that 1,200 homes to be built under the plan would amount to a drop in the ocean. We're in the midst of a housing crisis, she said. We've got 50,000 people across the state on social housing register. That's the population of Gympie. Now, there is no quick fix to affordable and social housing. I think it's a great idea that people are going out there and building these tiny house projects, but like Amy said here in her quote, there's 50,000 people across the state of Queensland who are looking for affordable and social housing. So building 30 tiny houses or building 1,200 houses over the next 7 years isn't going to quite touch the 50,000 people that need affordable or social housing here in Queensland. And even across Australia, there's an estimate around 140 to 160,000 homes that are needed in the current pipeline. What this really means is we need to continue to do our best to build policies to support those organizations that are building affordable housing and trying to create the supply side of the equation to build these communities and build these houses for people at an affordable rate. With the rising costs of builders and the materials that they bring, it's actually getting very expensive to build the average home. So maybe building smaller homes is a way forward to fulfill some of this pipeline. But on the flip side, a 1 or 2 bedroom home is not going to suit a larger family. Anyone with 2, 3 or 4 kids is going to struggle to fit into a smaller or tiny home scenario. So there needs to be a balance between building these tiny homes and also moving to your standard 3 or 4 bedroom homes out within the community. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about affordable housing here in Australia? What do you think about the housing crisis? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're looking to hear about more information on the property market, I talk all things real estate, renovating, financial freedom. So subscribe down below, drop a like on this video, and click this video over here for more things real estate, renovating, and financial freedom. Wait, I already said that. What?